Okay, it's 9 o'clock, and we're here to listen to Mick de Graaf about Cryptopepes.
Oh yes, so today I'm going to talk about Cryptopepes, and my name is Mick de Graaf, as Pascal already stated. I'm the co-founder and smart contract developer of Cryptopepes. And on today's program is the problems with current multiplayer games and why blockchain could revolutionize gaming, the blockchain game competitors and their flaws, and a little something about the Cryptopepes system. So what are the problems with current multiplayer games? It is that you have no true ownership. So if the game gets shut down, you basically lose all of your game items. If you want to quit playing, you cannot sell them. And the trading is strictly restricted by the platform, and it might take fees on that, and the fees are not that reasonable in most of the cases. Also, the games might get changed, so you might like the game at first, but after a while, they change some of the rules, they do some rebalancing, and then actually think the game sucks at that moment. That happens to Vitalik. He played World of Warcraft. They changed his favorite spell, and he felt it really sucked, and that inspired him to build Ethereum. And you have central points of failure. That's a really big game. If the game service gets shut down, the game is done. You cannot play anymore. If you go down for a short period of time, you still cannot play, and that also sucks. And the game might get hacked, and then all your stuff is lost. So why not use blockchain tech in gaming? Because you can have true ownership. Your game assets are really stored in your wallet, and no one can interfere with them. They are freely tradable, and you can quit the game at any time you want, and just sell your assets and move on to another game, or just enjoy your mad gains from the game. The game cannot be changed. So when the rules are set, they are final. So nothing can happen that you do not like. At least you can dislike the game from the beginning, but then you wouldn't start playing. So there's no centralized points of failure. You have no central service that can go down. The players themselves pay for the infrastructure, so there's no need to pay the bills for servers. If the game gets less popular, it's no problem. So a little about a few other games on top of blockchain, Ethereum for these examples. We have Cryptokitties, but what's nice about it is that breeding is a really nice thing to have. They popularized the ERC 721 standard, and that's really revolutionary. And they set the bar for crypto collecting. What's not so nice is that it's relatively centralized because they can alter some smart contracts. It's only about collecting, and you're not really rare because you have 35,000 Gen 0 crypto keys. Ether Group, that's a nice game. Idle games are really fun to play. They're really stupid, but they're fun to play. Their in-game currency can be sold. They set the bar for crypto idle games, so they think they're really revolutionary. The main part about it is that the balancing is off. If you started playing just after a couple of weeks, you cannot keep up. You cannot do anything. And the wheels are empowered, they will attack you. So it's basically pay to win. You need to have loads of money to have any kind of influence in the game. So we entered the dawn of crypto, the dawn of a new era with Cryptopepes. It's a blockchain gaming, but it's done right. It's fully decentralized, full ownership. We have epic battles. You can play with your pepes. Fair distribution, fast as hell, and scalable. So this is the thing we're going to talk about in this talk, the Cryptopepes. The Cryptopepes themselves are represented by an ERC 721 token. A generation gets stored, the DNA is stored from which the looks and the battle characteristics are generated. They have an ID, so if you have an older one, it will have a higher ID, so that will be more valuable. And then you can name them, but you can only name them once. So once you name one, the name sticks to them, and they're basically not mint condition anymore. So it's better not to name them at all. With the PEP token, it's an ERC20 token. It lowers fees on trading. So if you buy a Cryptopepe with the PEP token, you only pay 0.525% fees, opposed to 3.75%. It will be merged to the DPoS chain, and you can use them to stake in battles. So you can say, I battling you, and we both put this amount of PEP tokens, and then the other person, if you win, you will get the tokens of the other person. So distribution, that's a really big problem with current blockchain games. For instance, with Cryptopepes, all Gen 0 Cryptopepes go to the maker of them, but that's not really fair and not really decentralized. So how we solve that? We do that with mining. And then we enter the Cryptopepes red zone. There's 16K blocks in total. It's an 8-minute block time, 2,500 PEP per block, and every 16 block, an additional Cryptopepe will be generated for that miner. It's based on the catch-up 256 algorithm, so there are no ASICs yet for that. And there will be no Gen 0s generated after that. So 1,000 Cryptopepes will be mined during that period. So this is the PEP distribution. 10% will be locked until DPoS phase and will be released over the course of 3 to 4 years. 5% will be released during the 2-month mining period with founders. An initial allocation of 5% will be released immediately before mining begins. And the rest of the 80% of the rewards go to proof of work miners during the first phase. This is the secret distribution. There are 1,100 in total, Gen 0s. Of that, 100 will go to the founders, and that's used for game development funding. The other 1,000 will go to the miners.
I'm not sure everyone knows what the Gen 0 is.
Oh, Gen 0 is when you breed puppies, it has to start somewhere. Like the story of Adam and Eve. They were actually creatures generated out of nothing. They were Gen 0s. If anything after that will be the Gen 1. Gen 1 breeds with another Gen 1, it will be Generation 0. So it has to start somewhere. These are puppies with no parents in Generation 0. So if you breed, here we have for example, the Generation 1 with Generation 1. So they have Generation 0 parents. Then you get a Generation 2. So the Generation 0 is where it starts. So if you breed them together, they will inherit stuff from each other, but you won't know what comes out. Because there's also a random factor in it, like human breeding, that you can have gene mutations and things change. Mostly things are inherited from the parents. You can trade them. We have descending clock auctions just in the flower market. You can transfer them to any Ethereum address. We cannot block that, so you can donate them to anyone, send them to favorite wallet. They're rare due to their DNA. Some characters are more rare than others. They have mint conditions puppies because if you do not name them there and do not breed them, you can see that. So they are unused, so more valuable. And they have generations set at birth. So the generations will be the ones mined, and after that, it increases with every largest of its parents plus 1. So generation 1 plus generation 2 will be generation 3. You can battle your puppies where you can stake PEP tokens. These battles will take place in state channels to mitigate some of the scaling issue because it's really slow to do every move on chain. So for it to be really fast, you need to stand states to each other. They're turn-based and skill-based, so you need to be good at playing to win. And the genes will influence the powers. So some attacks will only be the attacks are influenced by the genes of the PEP. So now we enter the PEP chain. To mitigate scaling issues, we need our own chain because the Ethereum blockchain has issues with a really popular DApp that used a lot. There's this Cryptopepes was a problem on the Ethereum network, and that's why we'll need our own chain. It's Ethereum compatible. You have the same addresses. It runs on smart contracts, and it will be bridged with the mainnet. So you can send your PEP to the Ethereum mainnet, and you can also send it to our net, and then you can exchange between them. It's a DPoS chain with 101 validators. The PEP token will be converted 1-to-1, so you can burn your PEP token and then you get a DPoS currency. Voting gives you a share in the block reward, we have an inflation of 3.1 million. So that's 0.5 per block. That accounts for 1 pep every 10 seconds. And it's based on the parity aura consensus, which is basically which is used on the test network right now. So, well, almost at the end, I would like to invite you all to the launch parties on the 6th of July in Rotterdam, and it would be fun if you could come.
That must be a question.
So why is the inflation? Why is that?
For the validators to be rewarded, you need to have some new currency generated, or you can do it only off the transaction fees, but that would be not enough to run a node. So that's why we need inflation at the default state. But that's a solid 3.15 million, and so the inflation rate percentage-wise decreases over the year.
So you said launch party at July 6th?
Yes, yes.
So with the phases, the 3-month mining phase.
That launches on the 6th of July.
So that launches on the 6th?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So you're now in testnet, or you're now testing?
Yeah, we're now testing it privately on testnet, yes.
Okay.
Can you share something about the development effort? Like, what are the hard parts? How much time? With how many people are you developing?
Well, we have 2 smart contract developers. I do the most of the smart contract part, and the other guy also does the front end stuff, the back end stuff, because you have to index stuff on the blockchain. We have 1 game developer, 1 designer, and 1 person who does everything. So that's 5 in total. Yeah. Yes.
I saw that the style you're using is somewhat similar to CryptoKitties. So I'm wondering how much of their code did you use to develop your game?
None.
None?
No, we were inspired by them because they pioneered breeding, but all code we used is 100% unique. Yes.
Is PepChain based on other blockchain?
PepChain is actually for it to run, you need the parity client. So you might know the parity client, and you have this Aura consensus protocol, which uses a set of validators, and that set of validators you can define in a smart contract, and that's what we're building delegated proof of stake for. So it's just well tested blockchain node we use. So nothing new, nothing.
So you said your PepChain bridges with Ethereum.
Yeah.
So how does it work? Maybe on a high level, but how do you bridge one blockchain to another one?
Well, we haven't chosen a final way, but because we're starting on Ethereum Mini, but there are multiple ways to do it. You can do it like the RSK network with a set of validators to bridge both networks. So you say, yeah, I'm burning in this contract, and then some person or some set of persons can say, hey, we now own this token on this network, and then you can burn it again. But right now we're looking at that you sync the validators on the DPoS chain on the Ethereum mainnet, so they are in line, and they sign off on, okay, someone sends Ether to our chain, or they send Ether back to the mainnet, or they send back vice versa. So that's the way we sync it.
So is there like any documentation on that? How that it works with validators?
Yeah.
So if I search on bridging and validators, I should find some info on this.
The parity team did a lot on bridges. The Proof of Authority network team also did a lot on bridges. And yeah, we're basically taking best of both worlds. That's not fully included yet. We're getting there.
Have you got a bug bounty program?
Not yet, but we're thinking about bounties. What?
Did you find one?
That's an alpha test world. Okay. If
Yeah.
you want lots of it would be very well.
I would be interested. If this is a DPoS solution, and you're saying, well, we're not centralized as CryptoKitties are, What if every validator in the DFOS chain just leaves? Is that a case that can happen? And
Well,
what if
if
my
they leave,
Pepe is
the votes will drop on them because people who voted will notice, hey, they left, and then they will just vote on someone else because they stopped producing blocks and they're missing income because they get a share in the block rewards. So they will just drop votes and will drop out. But if everyone leaves at the same time, yeah, we have a problem. But if all Bitcoin miners leave at the same time, they also have a problem.
Yeah, yeah, okay, but I remember the talks of like the plasma chain issues with some of the plasma chain nodes leaving for the sake of their own gains on the main chain.
No, well, their tokens are converted to PEP, so they have stake in keeping the value of PEP alive. So if they drop mining and they will even get voted in, they will drop their own stakes. Okay. That's something to look into. Yes.
What's your business model? Is it the PEP you keep for yourself?
Yeah, well, it's actually our business model ourselves is we have for the team, for development funding, we have 100 out of the 1100 generation zero PEP, so we can sell them. We can breed with them and sell the offspring. And we also have the PEP token in reserve, for which we can vote on validators. So that's something.
You said something about indexing some stuff on the blockchain.
Yeah.
What does it mean? And
Well, you cannot really query, let's say I want all peppers with this characteristics. That's not really possible on chain right now. So that's a middle solution.
okay, so that's some API you should keep on posting, but in the future you should.
Yeah, in the future we will release that code so anyone can host that API and you can validate the results on your own client.
Maybe I missed it, but can you transfer the token PEP from main chain to side chain?
Yeah.
How about the peppers themselves?
Yeah, they could also be bid, yeah. So you can sell them on 0x platform because they're now supporting USD very well.
So you envision that people will auction their peppers on the main chain?
Yeah, or on both, but maybe the liquidity will be higher on the main chain.
Any more questions?
Yeah, there was one question about the business model. There's also some transaction cost, so it's a really low fee. But that's also
in the markets when you want to sell your peppy or you want to sell the right to breed your peppy, basically pimp it out. Then you pay some small amount of fee, and that also gets developers.
Yeah. Also, we are building a platform, so the PEP chain can also accept other games. This is an example.
So anyone can upload their smart contract to our chain.
So, who is funding the job now? Because you're with 5 people.
They were basically bootstrapping it.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe some funds here and there, but no ICO, nothing. Yeah. But you don't need a lot with 5 people. If you're excited.
Are you working full time on it, or is it?
Yeah, I would say full time. Yeah, it is for me. Yeah. Oh, I know nothing. Huh?
One more question.
With the breeding, you've got a Gen 1 and a Gen 1 breeding, and then they have a Gen 2 child. What if a Gen 1 and a Gen 6 breed? Is that a Gen 7?
Well, you could better say, what if a Gen 2 and a Gen 6, because that's a clear example maybe. Then it will be a Gen 7, because it's a larger one of its parents, plus one.
Oh yeah.
Sounds like a pedo.
A pedo, yeah, but you cannot have incest in our smart contract. You cannot have your peppy and breed with its own brothers or sisters.
Okay, a big hand for Mick.